And hello everybody, another day, another episode of Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney. We're going to be picking up on day 2, which is the trial for the Turnabout Samurai. October 18th at 10 a.m., District Court, courtroom number 4. Stupid Edgeworth over here. Court is now in session for the trial of Mr. Will Powers. The prosecution is ready, Your Honor. The defense is ready, Your Honor. Very well. Mr. Edgeworth, your opening statement, please. The prosecution will show the court that at 2:30 p.m. on October 15th, the defendant, Mr. Will Powers, killed fellow actor Jack Hammer in Studio 1 of Global Studios. It is impossible for anyone else to have committed this heinous crime. The evidence presented during the trial will all point to this fact. I see. Very well. I would like to move on to some testimony. Mr. Edgeworth, the prosecution may call its first witness. Very well. I call a most familiar face, Detective Gumshoe, to the stand. My guy. Detective, if you would briefly describe this case to court. Yes, sir. I'll explain with the guide map here. To understand this case, it's important to grasp the layout of the studio, see? This here is the employee area. The actors did a run through their action scenes during the morning here. This is the main gate to the studios. The security lady that works at the studios was here at 1 p.m. on that day. Past security station, there's a gate, see? Past that are the studios. And here it is, Studio 1. This is the scene of the murder where the body was found. Now, on the day of the murder, October 15th, there were only 3 people here. The victim, Jack Hammer, the defendant, Will Powers, and a young woman, the production assistant. All the production staff were in the employee area until noon. Then, after lunch, the victim, Jack Hammer, went to Studio 1. Right after that, at 1 p.m., the security lady got to the guard station. Now, jump ahead to later that day, 5 p.m. The production staff came to Studio 1 to perform a rehearsal. Needless to say, the rehearsal was cancelled. The time of death was 2:30 p.m. The samurai spear found lodged in the victim's chest was the murder weapon. That's the case in brief. Anyone like to hear that again? Should I listen to that whole thing again? We're good. I think I can probably remember that. So the murder weapon was a spear? How medieval. Samurai spear added to the court record. Your Honor, this case is quite simple if you ask one question. And that question is, what did the security lady at the guard station see? Understood. Let's call this security officer to the stand. The worst lady alive. Will the witness declare her name? My, aren't you a handsome fella? Come on. I'm afraid I'm a bit flustered. Your name, please. Oh dearie, no need for you to be embarrassed. Just call me Grandma. Your name, please. Seems Edgeworth has a bit of trouble getting his witnesses to say their names. Oh, her name's actually Oldbag. Okay, Wendy Oldbag, dearie. So just call me Grandma, that's probably the name. Yeah, and she's just gonna spout off over and over at us. This is insane, by the way. Objecting to your own witness. Objection sustained. The witness will refrain from rambling on the stand. I was just getting to the good part, dearie. Perhaps we can get a testimony? Now, the witness was stationed at the main gate on the day of the murder, correct? Yes, see, I was. And to get to the scene of the murder, someone would have to pass by you? You know your stuff, dearie. You may begin your testimony. She sure is one hell of an old bag. Alright. On the day of the murder, I arrived at the guard station at 1 p.m. Poor old Hammer and the rest had been doing a run-through there since the morning. I had some errands to run that morning. Anyway, it was 1 when I got to the guard station. I was at the main gate and from then until 5. Now, the murder happened at 2:30 p.m., right? Interesting to me because a certain man walked by me at 2 p.m. It was Powers, that man right there, and he was heading toward the studio. You saw the defendant then? Very well, let's begin the cross-examination. Mr. Wright? Yes, Your Honor. Alright, let's see what we can mess up this time. So what evidence do we have? Dead 230, guide map, hard key. Let's see, so I want to, let's try this. Let me get this straight, Oldbag, or Miss Oldbag. You've been saying since yesterday that you saw Mr. Powers, correct? You're talking about the man in this photo, aren't you? Just a moment, Mr. Wright. Let me see that photo. What is this exactly? None other than the Steel Samurai, defender of Neo Old Tokyo. Miss Oldbag, is this the Mr. Powers that you saw? Of course. Didn't your mama teach you any sense, Sonny? Anyone can plainly see that's Powers, right? No, they can't. Well, I mean, I wonder. True, Mr. Powers does play the role of the Steel Samurai. But that doesn't mean Mr. Powers is the Steel Samurai. Yeah, yikes. I know that, I wasn't born yesterday. Well, no one in this court is accusing you of that, Miss Witness. He's having trouble calling her Oldbag, apparently. However, you do not have proof that the person in this photo is Mr. Will Powers, do you? Nosy old man. Of course I have proof. What? Huh? Even Edgeworth is surprised? The prosecution would like to ask the witness. Please make known all the information in your possession ahead of time. How was I to know everyone would be so nosy? You should be ashamed, all of you. Anyway, I showed that photo to the young detective. He told me, this isn't any good evidence, pal. Or this any good as evidence. He didn't even give it a second look. Wow, old Windbag has left even Edgeworth speeches. She's good. Let's hear about your proof, then. Alright. I never say anything I don't mean, mind you. That morning, during the run through the action scene, I saw Powers trip and fall. He broke one of the props. It was a big mess. Apparently, he sprained his ankle pretty bad. Now, look at that picture. You can see he's dragging his legs, see? Clear as day. That's how I knew it was Powers. Happy? That's... So he had a sprained... So he'd sprained his ankle? Very well, Mr. Wright, you may cross-examine the witness. She's gotta be hiding something. I'll press her until she squeals. Okay. Let me press her about that. Are you absolutely sure? Let's take a look at that picture again. So he was walking strangely because he was injured? It does look like he was dragging his foot. See? And you didn't trust me, whippersnapper. Was Mr. Powers' ankle badly sprained? Not so bad that he couldn't walk around on it. He went to his dressing room to rest up after lunch. Thus, nap. Anyway, I saw him dragging his foot when he walked. Dragging his foot, okay. So, okay, so you saw him trip and fall. Trip and fall? Yes, and to think he's supposed to be the Steel Samurai, what a laugh. So Powers sprained his ankle. I helped make it better for him, of course. You helped make it better? I kissed it where? God. Let's just skip over that part, shall we? Where was the assistant then? Oh, her? She was cleaning up backdrops, I think. She didn't know about Powers' ankle. You may continue with your testimony. What prop did he break? He broke a prop? Sure did. His own samurai spear. His samurai spear? The murder weapon? Luckily I was there with my duct tape to fix it. This strikes me as a significant detail. Better write this down in the court record. Okay. I explained it pretty bad. Okay, let me ask you about this. Who was present at the run-through? Well, let's see. There was Powers, he's the Steel Samurai. Then poor old Hammer, the evil magistrate. And me. And what exactly were you doing? Observing, just observing. What about the assistant? Oh, she was off moving backdrops around and such, so she didn't see the run-through then. Okay. Alright, let me ask you about this. Whippersnapper. Hey, I haven't said anything yet. I'll have you know, I'm not pointing fingers at anyone behind their backs. Everything I've said is on the straight and narrow, up and up. You today always whining about each other, pointing fingers that way. Doesn't make an old lady cry. Mr. Wright, please for all our sake, try not to upset the witness. I think Edgeworth has met his match. Okay. Oh, this is one I already got. Okay. Broken one of them, sprained his ankle. I think we've heard enough, haven't we, Your Honor? Well, there is one thing that bothers me. Which is? Where is this Steel Samurai costume now? Actually, well, we couldn't find it. We're looking, though. Anyway, that's not important. The witness did see the Steel Samurai, yes? And it is clear that the person in the Steel Samurai suit was Mr. Will Powers. I suppose that's right. Are you sure you're sure, Your Honor? I object. Hold it right there. We keep talking possibilities, but we have yet to agree that this photo shows the Steel Samurai. In this photo, can you see Mr. Will Powers? The defense has a point. I also wonder if someone else not caught on camera could have killed Mr. Hammer. We have to consider that possibility also. Then allow me to remove that doubt from your mind, Your Honor. Will the witness continue her testimony, please? No need to ask twice. I hate you. The time of poor Hammer's death was 2:30 p.m., true? The only person I saw go into the studio before then was Will Powers. No one else went there. If they had, I would have seen them. So, if no one else went to the studio, then it would have to be the Steel Samurai who did it. Mr. Wright, you may cross-examine the witness. Okay, here's where I can point out that it's the second person, right? Let's press you on that. Are you absolutely sure? Oh, quite, Sonny. Nobody's suspicious looking past by at all. Okay. I guess we'll just push on everything and then get all the information again. How do you know that? And didn't I just explain? I gave donuts to the young detective, and then, after some rubbish about it being a secret pal, he told me everything. See, Detective Gumshoe shares his fellow officer's fondness for donuts. Absolutely sure. Okay. Nobody's suspicious looking, and then... What about before you got to the guard station? You mean before 1? Why, everyone was in the employee area before then. And I locked the main gate so no one could get in. Not to mention, if they had, I would have seen them. Are you sure? The witness has answered the question. Anyone going into the studio had to pass by the witness. That's right, Sonny. You let him have it, edgy boy. Edgy boy. Good. Glad to see him get at least a little bit of something. Old Windbag sure has balls, or, well, you know what I mean. Old Windbags have a way of skipping over important details, after all. Or, for that matter, entirely forgetting them. How convenient. Something for you to look forward to. Sheesh. How do you know that? Eh? Didn't I just explain? Oh, okay. Okay. So... that's the only thing I can think of, right? Hold on. Look at this photograph one more time. This photo was taken by the camera at the gate for the studios, correct? Yes, sirree, Sonny. So, whenever anyone passes by here, it automatically takes a picture? And here I thought you didn't know your head from a hole in the ground. Right. Anyway, it's also true that the computer in the guard station records all security cam data. Oh, you know, if you wanted to work at the studio, we might have an opening. That very computer printed out this photo. Note that on the back of the photo are printed the words October 5th, 2 p.m. photo number 2. Even I know that means it was taken at 2 p.m. on October 15th. Really, Sonny? Actually, I knew that too. The issue here is the bit at the end where it says photo number 2. Photo number 2? The computer only held data for one photo on that day. Don't you think that's odd? Shouldn't this photo be photo number 1 if it really was the only photo? Humana, humana, humana. Order, order. Please tell the court what you mean by this, Mr. Wright. Actually, that's what I want to ask the witness. This evidence shows that not one, but 2 people went into the studio that day. Yet there's only data for one of the photos. Who could have erased the data for the other photo? Only someone with access, the security lady herself. Eh. You watch your mouth, whippersnapper. The only person I saw that day was Will Powers. But the camera on the gate fired twice. That means 2 people went by. Well, yes, that's what it would seem to mean. Can the witness explain this to the court? I don't understand these newfangled computer things. Edgy boy, help. Save me, edgy boy, save me. Believe me, I want to, but I don't know what that means either. Some help you are, you're a whippersnapper too. Whippersnapper? Something the matter, Miss Oldbag? That's right. I just remembered something. Let me guess. Someone else passed by the gate, someone other than the Steel Samurai? Well, yes, I suppose you could put it that way. I see. Your testimony, please. Every day after I finish my guard duties, I have one more other important job to do. I go through the photos recorded on the security camera, or security computer, and check them. I throw out any photos that aren't suspicious looking, you see. Why? Come to think of it now, I remember throwing out one photo that day. Oh, shocker. This Oldbag, this is the first I've heard of this. Well, of course, Sonny, I've only just remembered it. Right. Anyway, Mr. Wright, please begin the cross-examination. Well, I'd say this is a turn for the unexpected, but I kind of expected this. Thanks, Maya. Okay. One job to do is to go through photos and check them. Alright, so tell me, why did you throw that out? How exactly do you determine what isn't suspicious looking? Oh, you can tell by looking at their faces, for the most part. For the most part. This is a murder trial, Miss Oldbag. Well, I didn't touch that suspicious-looking Will Powers photo, did I? I think she's missing the point. Okay, can you remember what the photo you threw out was? Well, who in the heck was in that photo you erased? A fanboy. Fanboy? Steel Samurai fanboys, real freaks if you ask me. They get information about the rehearsals from gosh knows where. They're always hanging about. One was there that day. Wait a second, didn't you just say no one else could get in? I locked the main gate so no one could get in, those were your words. Well, if you must know, there's a drain that goes into the employee area. The grate has been loose for a while. It leads outside and well, that's where they come in. They come in through the drain. I told you they were freaks. Oh, and they're kids, children, whippersnappers. Kids? So on the photo that you erased, it was a boy, probably 2nd or 3rd grade. What? Order. Let me get this straight. You saw 2 people pass by the gate on their way to the studios that day? One was a steel samurai dragging his leg. The other was a boy who looked to be about in 2nd and 3rd grade. Oh yes, well, we see his type there every day. Can't stop him, can't catch him. The boy in 2nd or 3rd grade. I assume it would be hard, if not impossible, for a young boy to wield the samurai spear. Impossible, I think. It's quite heavy. Right, as I say, I didn't pay him much mind. That's why I erased the data. Nick, what's going on? I mean, the boy was there, that makes him a suspect. Yeah, and they're already trying to unsuspect him. This court will take a 5-minute recess. I want the defense and the prosecution to consider this new information. And no forgetting vital information this time. October 18th, 11:08 a.m. District Court, Defendant Lobby number 3. Mr. Powers? Yes? Tell me straight, were you really in your dressing room? You didn't go to the studio? I didn't go to the studio, I was sleeping, honest. So who was the Steel Samurai in that security photo? How should I know? The Steel Samurai costume was off in the corner of the dressing room. Anyone could have walked in and taken it, really? What? You should take better care of that stuff. I couldn't imagine anyone would want to steal a Steel Samurai costume. So, where does this leave me? It doesn't look good. Sniff. You're the only likely suspect right now. Nick, what are you going to do? First, we play for more time. We'll start targeting someone else that could conceivably have done this. Right. And it'll take them so long to shoot us down that we can get another day. Right, but if we pick the wrong person, we might lose on the spot. You don't sound very optimistic. I'm not optimistic at all, actually. Hey, Nick, it's time. Okay, let's go. What does that mean? Please don't leave me like that. Or please don't sigh like that. God, I cannot read, apparently. And if you watched any of these, you know this by now, it's fine. Like, we get it sorted out one way or another. Court will now reconvene for the trial of Mr. Will Powers. Mr. Edgeworth, will you present the prosecution's thoughts on this matter? The prosecution's thoughts are simple. Nothing has changed. The other person who went to the studio was a boy of roughly 10 years of age. The photo we do have may not be hard evidence. But there's still no one else that could have committed this crime. I call for a verdict of guilty for the defendant, Mr. Will Powers. Very well, Mr. Wright, your thoughts? The defense disagrees with the prosecution's claim. There is another person who could have committed this crime. Order. Interesting. Let us hear you have in mind. However, be aware that this court does not look kindly on accusing the innocent. If you accuse someone who is obviously innocent, you will be penalized. Right. Great. As if the stakes weren't high enough. So, who is this person other than Mr. Powers that could have committed murder? Are you really gonna blame the assistant? That's the only one that makes sense, because it was like, the security lady was at her post, and she does seem suspicious, but if she was at the station at that time, unless she's blatantly lying, but like, the assistant girl? It was the assistant. The Steel Samurai costume was in his dressing room. She stole it, and in doing so, she became the Steel Samurai. They're saying the Steel Samurai in the picture is really the assistant? That's correct, Your Honor. If you're serious, you've got guts, Mr. Wright. Remember that photo? Wasn't the Steel Samurai a little lame? He was dragging his foot. Oh, uh-oh, bad feeling time. Remember the testimony concerning Powers' injury? Oh, and me. What about the assistant? Including backdrop, she didn't know about Powers' ankle. Oh, okay, so it was like, knew nothing about Mr. Housen. She could look at the Steel Samurai. She could look the Steel Samurai look with that costume. But she couldn't walk the Steel Samurai walk. She wouldn't have limped. Ugh. Kinda takes the legs out from under that case. Mr. Wright, I'm afraid I have to penalize you, as I warned. Nobody knows the trouble I've seen. May we move on, Mr. Wright? Alright, this fight isn't over yet. If you would, Your Honor, one more chance, please. Very well, go ahead. So who is this person that, other than Mr. Powers, that could have committed the murder? So maybe it is... Because my guess is that if it's the school boy, it's not that they're dragging their foot, it's that they're walking weirdly because they're short. It was the grade school boy. Why isn't anyone saying anything? Bah. Are you seriously suggesting the boy did it, Mr. Wright? Grade school boy kills veteran action star with spear? For one thing, the murder weapon was the Steel Samurai. Would you care to explain just how the boy would have obtained it from him? Okay. Maybe? Maybe? How about absolutely, Nick? That's right, I'm afraid I have to penalize you as I warned. But, luckily, we'll get one more chance. Okay. Look, I'll be honest, I was like, it's not that I'm dumb, it's just that I want to get all of the dialogue. I want to see what all the options are, obviously. It was the security lady, Wendy Oldbag. Who? The Steel Samurai is dragging his leg in this picture. That means whoever was in the suit knew about that morning's injury. Maybe because they had been watching the action scene run through. There's only one person other than Powers and Hammer who knew about the injury. The security lady, Oldbag. What? Whippersnapper? God, I can just imagine her being someone that says it like a slur, just like, I get it, you hate young people, it's fine. Order, order. Is this true, Oldbag? Oldbag? That's Miss Oldbag to you. Miss Oldbag was standing guard alone at the main gate. She was by herself, in other words, she has no alibi. She could have briefly left her post to steal the Steel Samurai costume, then slipped into Studio 1, the scene of the murder. Why would she go through the trouble of wearing the Steel Samurai costume? Simple, Your Honor. She knew that the camera at the gate would take her picture. If she was in his costume, she could point the finger at Mr. Powers. I see. Excellent deductive reasoning, Mr. Wright. Don't worry, third time's the charm. Oh yeah, right here. Sherlock Holmes 2, baby. That's odd. Isn't this the part where Edgeworth pounces? Doesn't he usually jump up with an objection and some new damning evidence? Well, Mr. Edgeworth, does the prosecution have an opinion on this matter? Ah, he's doing the finger tap. The prosecution has no meaningful objections at this time. What? What's that supposed to mean? Oh, so you all think I did it, is that it? Edgy boy, don't just sit there, do something! What's my move? Maybe now's my chance to take this the whole way? You know what? Yeah, let's press further, why not? The very same reasoning that makes Mr. Powers a suspect in this case can be used to cast doubt on Miss Oldbag's actions on that day. But why would I do something so horrible to poor Hammer? You forgot that Mr. Powers lacks a clear motive too. Indeed. That did it. Now Windbag is one of the suspects. No hard feelings, I hope. Wait just a minute. What about the other person who went to the studio? The boy, the one whose photo I erased. He's only a grade schooler though, as you said. 2nd or 3rd grade, was it? That doesn't matter. When I was that age, I could pin my own man in 10 seconds tops. Your thoughts, Mr. Wright? That boy is not the killer. What? How can you be so sure? Oh, or is it nice to be... or is it be nice to kids and mean to your elders day, whippersnapper? I have proof. Proof? Indeed? Then let's see this proof, Mr. Wright. You have proof that shows the boy could not have committed this murder? Yeah. What is the proof? It's gotta be the weapon itself, right? Your Honor, the murder weapon was a samurai spear. That very spear shown here in this photo. How could the boy have taken the spear? It's impossible. I see. Well, would the witness care to comment on this? The Windbag, speechless. This has gotta be a first. Very well. This court will suspend proceedings on the current trial for today. Mr. Edgeworth, please find out more about your witness, Miss Wendy. What was her name? Something Oldbag, Your Honor. Then the prosecution will look further into this Oldbag before we continue. That is all. This court is adjourned. Wait a second. I'm not going to just sit here while you run off barking up the wrong tree. Me? I'm talking. Oh god. Oh great. Stop the presses. The Windbag wants to talk. Miss Oldbag, what is this all about? Have you omitted something from your testimony? Actually, if you must know, there's something I was told not to talk about. Not to talk about? By whom? Huh? You mean it wasn't Edgeworth who told her not to talk? Well, testify. My lips were sealed. Global Studios wanted me to keep quiet about something. There were some other people at studios on the day of the murder. They said they had nothing to do with it, see? So they told me to just pretend they hadn't been at the studios all day. But if you're going to accuse me, I'm not letting them get away scot-free. Miss Oldbag, this is crucial information. Why did you keep this from the court until now? Ain't you been listening? They told me to shut my trap, and I always do what I'm told. No, this isn't a bad dream, Your Honor. Witness the power of the Oldbag. Mr. Wright, your cross-examination. Okay, but who is they? Alright. So you were told not to talk. That's right. By the studio and the TV bigwigs, no less. Why didn't I hear about this? Don't be too hard on yourself, Sonny. We were all in on it. Okay. Who were these people? Well, the director and the producer for starters. The director? We should have known something was fishy. How could they have done a run-through of their action scene without a director? Of course. Yes, well, I was surprised no one asked about it. So, where were these people? The director was in the employee area all morning for the run-through. He joined the producer around lunchtime and they had a meeting after that. Where? Oh, in the Studio 2 trailer. Studio 2? There was a Studio 2? Well, if you look at the guide map, here it is. You go through the gate and all the way to the left. The path where the monkey's head was falling over. But it was blocked. I already asked my questions, but had nothing to do with it. Okay. Miss Oldbag, this trial is for murder? I know that, silly. Still, they were pretty convincing about having nothing to do with it. And they gave me a little bonus on the side. So you got your bonus and you still talk. I think I've asked all the questions I have to ask. Okay, fine. Your Honor, we have learned there were others at Club Studios in the day in question. The director and the producer and there's some bigwigs were all present. Yet, as we stand here, they have not been questioned. I hold that it is impossible to declare a verdict on the defendant, Mr. Powers. The court acknowledges the defense's point. The prosecution will gather more information about the witness, Miss Oldbag, and more information about these other people we have just been told of. I understand, Your Honor. This ends the day's proceedings in the trial of Mr. Will Powers. That is all. This court is adjourned. October 18th, 1:04 p.m. District Court, Defendant Lobby number 3. Thank you so much, Mr. Wright. I was right to ask you to defend me. Oh, really? It's nothing. Or should I? Well, I'll be going down to the studios to do some more investigating. We have to find out more about this director and producer. They'll be turning up in the next trial as witnesses for certain. So now's my chance to get material for the cross-examination. So Nick, have we figured out just who it was in that steel samurai costume? Could it really have been the old windbag? What do you think, Mr. Powers? I don't think it was her, really. Neither do I, Nick. Yeah, I know. Look, I was just buying time back there. Someone had to be the bad guy for a bit to take the pressure off Mr. Powers. Poor old windbag, I feel kinda sorry for her. I don't. Well, she wasn't winning any points in there, with or without my accusation. Okay, let's get down to the studios. Right, we'll be back to visit you soon. Thanks. Thanks, guys. To be continued. You know what, we're doing slightly better on the whole trial front, only losing a couple points here and there for bad decisions, but hey, if that's not, apropos to life, what is? But since that's another little break right there, I'm just going to go ahead and call it there. So thank you very much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, don't forget to subscribe and all that fun jazz, and I will see you in the next one.